A young boy boards a plane excited for his journey. He's calm, well-dressed, and polite as he takes his seat in first class. But something unexpected happens. A flight attendant notices him sitting there and immediately assumes he doesn't belong. Without asking any questions or understanding the full picture, she confronts him, her tone sharp and dismissive. Her actions go beyond mere curiosity. They reveal a deeper prejudice, a judgment based only on appearance. She asks the boy to leave, insisting he's not allowed to be there. The boy, quiet and respectful, doesn't argue and moves as instructed. The passengers around him watch silently, some uncomfortable, others indifferent. But what happens next? That's the twist that no one, not even the flight attendant, could have anticipated. This wasn't just any passenger. The boy wasn't just a kid. He was someone she should never have underestimated. The cabin buzzed with the usual pre-flight activity. Passengers shuffled down the aisle, juggling their carry-ons and searching for seat numbers. The hum of overhead compartments being opened and shut, mixed with snippets of polite exchanges between the crew and passengers. For most, it was a routine flight, but for one young boy, this journey would take a surprising turn. He walked onto the plane confidently, but quietly, his small figure dressed in a neatly pressed shirt and polished shoes. His composure suggested he was used to traveling even in the luxury of first class. Despite his youth, perhaps no older than 10, there was a quiet grace about him. He settled into a seat near the front, glancing out the window with an expression of calm curiosity. Not far away stood the flight attendant, a woman in her mid-30s, wearing the sharp uniform of the airline. Her polished smile and practiced demeanor hinted at years of experience, but her eyes gave away something more, a tendency to judge quickly. As she scanned the passengers, her gaze landed on the boy. Her brow furrowed slightly, her polished mask slipping for a moment. She moved toward him, her steps brisk and purposeful. To her, the scene didn't add up: a boy alone in first class. The thought seemed to challenge her assumptions about who belonged in that exclusive space. What she didn't realize, though, was that her assumptions were about to backfire in a way that no one could have predicted. As the flight attendant approached, her expression hardened. She stopped in front of the boy's seat, glancing down at him with a look that could only be described as disapproval. Her professional tone was laced with irritation as she asked, "Are you sure you're in the right seat?" The boy looked up, his calm eyes meeting hers. "Yes, ma'am. This is my seat." His voice was steady, polite, but his words seemed to agitate her further. "This is first class," she said sharply, her voice carrying enough volume to draw the attention of nearby passengers. "You can't just sit here without proper authorization. Where are your parents? Who allowed you up here?" The boy tried to explain, his demeanor still respectful, but the flight attendant cut him off. "Enough. Let's not make this complicated. You'll need to move to the back of the plane where you belong." Her words were cold, and though she didn't say it outright, the implication was clear. Without causing a scene, the boy stood up and quietly gathered his things. He moved toward the economy section, as instructed, his small frame walking past the curious gazes of other passengers. Some watched in silence, others exchanged whispers, but no one spoke up. For the flight attendant, it was a moment of authority. She believed she had handled the situation efficiently, as any professional should. But what she failed to realize was that this small, seemingly insignificant act of prejudice was about to unleash a series of events she could never have imagined. The flight had barely taken off when murmurs began spreading among the crew. One of the senior attendants received a message from the cockpit and quickly pulled the flight attendant aside. The look on her face was stern, almost alarmed. "You need to come with me," she whispered urgently. Confused but sensing something serious, the flight attendant followed. They stopped in a quiet corner near the galley, where the senior attendant's tone turned sharp. "Do you know who that boy was? The one you just kicked out of first class?" The younger woman hesitated, her confidence faltering. No, just some kid who was sitting in the wrong section, she replied defensively. That kid, the senior attendant snapped, is the son of the airline's owner. He wasn't just sitting there by mistake. He was entitled to that seat more than anyone else on this flight. The words hit her like a thunderbolt. For a moment, she stood frozen, her face draining of color, as the weight of her actions sank in. Shock gave way to panic. Her mind raced with the possible consequences, losing her job, public disgrace, and the tarnished reputation that would follow. Meanwhile, the news rippled through the cabin. Passengers who had witnessed the incident exchanged wide-eyed glances, their whispers growing louder. Some seemed incredulous, others smug as if relishing the twist in the story. The boy, now seated in the economy section, remained calm, but his quiet dignity seemed to echo louder than any words could. The flight attendant's steps faltered as she made her way back to the boy. The eyes of her colleagues and passengers burned into her, each glance a silent reminder of her grave mistake. And though she hadn't yet apologized, she already knew the damage was done. As the flight continued, the boy's father, the airline's owner, was informed of what had happened. He was a man known for his calm demeanor but firm principles. Upon hearing the details, his disappointment was palpable. He made a call to the flight's captain, instructing them to relay a message. The situation would be addressed immediately upon landing. When the plane touched down, the owner himself was waiting at the gate. His presence was commanding, and it sent ripples of tension through the crew. The flight attendant, now trembling with anxiety, was called aside to face him directly. "I've heard everything," he began, his voice measured but heavy with disappointment. "My son may be young, but he is no less deserving of respect than any other passenger on this airline, an airline that represents my name." The disciplinary measures were swift. The flight attendant was placed on immediate leave pending further review. The company issued an internal memo addressing the incident, citing it as a violation of their core values of equality and respect. Training sessions were scheduled for all staff to reinforce anti-discrimination policies and proper conflict resolution. The story didn't stay confined to the airline, though. Word spread quickly, and the incident became a talking point on social media and news outlets. Public backlash forced the company into damage control mode. Press releases were issued, apologies were made, and policies were reviewed to ensure such an event would never happen again. For the airline, the incident was a stark reminder of how a single moment of prejudice could tarnish its reputation. For the flight attendant, it was a life-altering lesson in humility, and for the passengers who witnessed it, the message was clear. Respect and fairness are not privileges, they are rights owed to everyone, no matter who they are. This incident serves as a powerful reminder of how dangerous assumptions can be. The flight attendant didn't know the boy's story. She didn't care to ask or consider the possibility that her judgment might be wrong. Instead, she let appearances dictate her actions, and the result was not just a personal failure, but a lesson for everyone involved. We live in a world where snap judgments happen all too often. People are labeled based on how they look, what they wear, or where they come from. But moments like these show the harm that comes from such behavior. Assumptions can lead to humiliation, hurt, and missed opportunities to connect or understand someone's true worth. What if she had treated the boy with kindness? What if she had simply asked a question instead of jumping to conclusions? A small change in approach could have avoided all the embarrassment and chaos that followed. Respect shouldn't depend on someone's status, wealth, or appearance. Every person deserves dignity and fairness, no matter who they are or where they come from. This isn't just about doing the right thing. It's about recognizing that everyone has a story, and none of us has the right to decide someone's value based on what we think we see. As you go through your day, remember this story. The next time you feel tempted to judge someone, quickly pause. Take a moment to think about the impact of your actions. Treat others with the respect you'd want for yourself. Because at the end of the day, the way we treat others defines not just them, but us. This story is a striking example of how prejudice and assumptions can lead to regrettable actions. A young boy judged solely by his appearance was treated unfairly by someone who should have known better. Yet through his quiet dignity and the unexpected reveal of his identity, the incident became a moment of reflection for everyone involved, crew passengers, and even us as observers. It's a reminder that respect and kindness should never be conditional. Everyone, regardless of their age, race, or background, deserves to be treated with fairness. The flight attendant's actions serve as a lesson for us all. Assumptions can hurt not only others, but also our integrity and reputation. What do you think? Have you ever witnessed or experienced a situation where someone was unfairly judged? How can we as a society do better to ensure respect and fairness for everyone? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this story and believe in spreading the message of equality and respect, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring and thought-provoking content. Your support helps us share more stories that matter. This story is a fictional narrative created for entertainment and educational purposes. It is not based on actual events or real individuals. The intention is to highlight important lessons about respect, equality, and the consequences of prejudice.